Oh, did we lose Joseph for a second?
Wow,
How's
that's
it going,
the first
buddy?
time we lose him. Oh,
Oh.
there he is.
I thought that was all of us.
You don't try and bring us down with you.
That's not how it works. If you think it's all of us, it's just you. Yeah. Mr. Najee Harris said that he's going to play in week 1.
I thought back in our day there was a lot of astigmatism around using fireworks, but apparently there isn't anymore because these guys are doing it all the time. Like JPP was not a cautionary tale.
Seems like you've been keeping your eye on this one.
No, listen, I think it's more like a revenge tour. You know what I mean? An eye for an eye.
He's going to really have to pass the eye test for me in week 1 before I buy in.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of glad that he's coming back, though, because we can start to make sense now of that backfield, because I think it would probably be a little bit cornea if he was on the sideline with a patch on, you know?
Yeah, it's been a rough patch for him, for sure.
You know, it's just that I wish this didn't happen to him.
Oh, my God.
Oh, stop it. I mean, you'd have to go back to his college days. I heard he was a terrible pupil.
I think you might be retina, Jax. I think you might be retina. Sights and sounds and edges found. You will now get down with the Underground. The Dynasty Underground is back in your life. I'm Trav hosting and West Coastin'. We are so close to the NFL season. I can feel it. The anticipation could be cut with a knife. And I am here with the usual suspects. My man's is, first one being the wise man, Jax Falcone. How you doing tonight, brother, in the Boulanger pub over there?
Doing great, feeling great. We have the club championship flying off. We'll talk about that later. I also got a chance to podcast for the first time ever with Mr. Ian Harditz today. Did that show. That should be dropping the Undrafted a little bit later. What a stud. Absolutely fantastic person to podcast with. It's like being in the presence of greatness. And I mean that not sucking up, because I don't do that. He just is that awesome at this particular thing. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude, I'm about 3/4 of the way through that edit, and I will say you guys made a nice little number on that podcast. So I'm excited for the listeners to hear it. Might be a little bit of a mention of Miss Odunze as well. Also with us this evening.
She did make the pod. She did make, but he had nice things to say about you.
She is big in the fantasy streets these days.
He had nice things to say.
She's making her presence felt, and I love it. Of course, in the corner office with the view, one Joe Quavius, Kuvatakis. How you doing tonight, my man?
I mean, I was doing great until Jax was just like, podcasting with Ian is incredible. I'm used to podcasting with a bunch of
levels to this shit.
Who suck at this. But when you podcast with a real pro, you really
notice. You notice the difference, you know?
I'm doing
kind of a good point, Joe. Didn't really mean to make it, but now that you say it, kind of light bulbs are going off, you know?
Incidentally, that's kind of what we're talking about today, which is second order effects of things, but we'll save that for later as well.
So good.
I would say generally, I've been doing great. I played one of my best rounds of golf ever yesterday, so I'm riding high on that. Today was cut down day, so I've just been shit posting on Twitter all day, which is tons of fun. So yeah, no complaints aside from the slight Mr. Falcone just gave us.
You're welcome.
No doubt. Yeah, we're apparently gonna talk about a bunch of guys who didn't make rosters, which is apparently what should become of us, Joe. But nonetheless, we are here. We are Jax's kind of sloppy seconds, his throwaway, his overflow podcast, if you will. Here on the Dynasty Underground. Find us on the Undroppables YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and smash that like button.
So
and
good.
Find us on your audio platforms. We actually love the reception. We're super excited to get into the season. Our first regular season as a podcast. I feel like we're rolling, boys, and it's a pleasure to be doing so with you guys. And yeah, Joe, we're going to talk about some of these cutdowns. There was a lot of stuff moving and shaking, and I will say, guys, I was set to drop my redraft rankings for True North Fantasy Football today, straggled a little bit on it, and then this afternoon happened, and now I'm not going to be dropping them until tomorrow. So today was a big day for the fantasy streets, and of course we analyze Dynasty here, and there are a bunch of impacts of these guys. And I think you said it well, Joe. Like, we're not necessarily talking so much about the guys who got cut, more so the impact of them being cut, and maybe some of what that tells us when we read through some of the tea leaves and look at some of the roles and some of the usage for some of these other guys, some free agents that maybe came on as well. So you actually were kind enough to make us the show sheet today, Joe. So what was your takeaway as you were doing this and you were looking at some of the guys who got cut and some of the guys who remained?
Well, the great Sigmund Bloom always says there's like 3 times when teams are honest with us. That's on draft day, that's on trades they make, and that's on players they add and players they cut. So, today was one of those moments of truth we got from a bunch of these teams, which is players they cut. Now, before we just jump into today, I want to actually talk about yesterday's news a little bit. We're recording this on a Tuesday night. I was on the golf course yesterday, as I already alluded to, and I got a notification that Jakobi Meyers requested a trade and the Raiders had signed Amari Cooper. So I kind of feel like that's where we should start, because I saw, Raiders signed Amari Cooper, and then I saw Jakobi Meyers request a trade, and I thought that it happened in that order while I was a little sloshed on the golf course, I'll be honest. But I think that what really happened is they realized Jakobi Meyers was going to demand a trade, so they signed Amari Cooper to cover their asses. That all being said, like, I don't know, I've said, we talked about here on this program that like Jack Besh was like the heir apparent to the Jakobi Meyers role, this sort of slot flanker type of player, and being his eventual replacement. I don't know if Meyers saw the writing on the wall or he was just upset that, they hadn't given the extension that they wanted. But, the Raiders like pretty quickly found a this year replacement for Jakobi Meyers while they wait for Besh to come around. So just talking about second order effects of things, like, I can't help but think that this is all like incredibly bullish for Dante Thornton, who has kind of torn it up all preseason, and I don't know, must be better than we even think for them to be pissing off their best wide receiver. So I don't know, there's a lot to unpack there. I see, and I
have a different read on a lot of the things that you said. Very different read.
I'm admittedly a just delusional Raiders fan, so I'm getting
real
hopeful,
answer,
which is bad. I'm usually super pessimistic about the Raiders, but I'm like getting hopeful. So I want you guys to take it from here, and
I'll go easy on you. I'll go easy on you, but let me just say that I think kind of the opposite of everything that you said. like number one, I do think it's like the worst power play ever. Jakobi Meyers was like, I want to be traded. They come out and they're like, we are not interested in trading Jakobi Meyers. It's like, what are you talking about? We're not you're not getting traded. Like, there's no leverage. Like, they were just like, no, thank you. And and then signing Amari Cooper, I think, there's what is it? It's just a coincidence. It's what's the I'm not thinking of the right thing, but causation or correlation. This is just correlation. It just happened to have been the same time, because I also think that the entire league, including this entire podcast and everybody listening, thinks that Amari Cooper is straight washed. So I don't think that he necessarily brings anything to the table. And I think Jakobi's just going to be playing. He's just going to play. I don't think they're going to give him a contract. I think, that's it. That's the end of it. And like, I think this is an absolute nothing burger. When it happened, I was on the air and I was like, oh shoot, I was doing the GOAT District. Those guys are great. I know Trav loves those boys.
Love them.
And they're awesome. And it happened on the air. And I was like, wait, what? Jakobi? What? Who does he think he is demanding a trade? Like, I was like, why would he even want to trade? Like, the whole thing doesn't make sense. The only thing he was trying to get is an extension. Look, at the end of the day, he could be the second target behind Brock Bowers on this offense and earn a much bigger contract in the offseason. He's still young enough to get one of those 3-year, like Cortland Sutton deal. Maybe not quite that much, but if he plays
Palmer
that
deal. Josh Palmer, 3 for 36, like 3. Well, no, he wants more than that. He wants more than that
right now.
Yeah. He's going to get way more than
Josh
Palmer
this
money.
year. Sorry, he's got 15 this year.
That's
a deal that's very, very big for maybe the production that we've
I
seen from
mean,
him.
he I put it this way, that would be not something I think he would sign at all.
No. I thought it
I'm
was more
saying
than that.
he's closer to the 3-year 90, not
Yeah.
that he'd get 3-year 90. I'm not saying he'd get that, just closer, 20 mil, a 3-year
Mhm.
58, something
Right.
like that. Like he could get a little bit of money. All that being said, I just don't think it means much. Also, Ian Hartitz happened to live tweet the Diesel Dart thing while I was on the air too, which I thought was incredible today. Just to point that out. So the Diesel Dart tweet happened because I told him about it, and he live tweeted that tweet. Amazing. You guys have never done anything like that.
I pulled off.
You didn't do
3
that either,
tricks while we were
Jax.
recording.
Ian did it.
Just saying, we witnessing
Anyways,
greatness every
Listen,
day.
the point
Yes,
you're
there
making
were
is good, and
sparks
I
flying.
hear it, which is like, hey, Amari might be really bad for Dante Thornton if Jakobi Meyers is not on his way out. So yeah, I mean, there's that
I think
possibility. too.
Amari is absolutely
think-
cooked.
He is cooked, yes, but he's gonna be pesky for that
Hmm.
team. Like he wasn't brought there to not be given targets. You know what I mean?
Maximum
And-
$6 million. Max.
Totally. If he gets there, he's probably going to get a little run because they're going to see what he's got. I think
He's
like
insurance.
absolutely, yeah. It's gonna, it's not going to be nice.
I'm
They're not
based
gonna
off
like
your
it, the
guys'
fans do.
reaction. I'm going to sell all my Amaris for thirds and fourths because nobody even wants it. Like
I'm
anything,
You
saying-
still have Amaris?
I'm saying
absolutely, bro. Come
they
on.
might
I've got
incorporate
Gabe Davis, Amari Cooper. I'm surprised I don't have Michael Thomas sitting around.
him. But anyway, I think he might be a little peskier and more annoying than we think he is. I don't know if it's too much of a needle mover for Dante Thornton, just because I think Amari kind of eats more of Jakobi Meyers' workload
doesn't
than
eat
Thornton.
anything.
So I don't think it's necessarily a positive or a negative move for Thornton. I think it's more just linear. And if Amari comes in and, like I say, does get some snaps and does disgustingly take some targets, I think that might be kind of bad for Dante Thornton, maybe meaning that they're not going downfield as much. Anyway, we can get into those weeds another time. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out, because I think ultimately Jakobi Meyers is going to end up back there. And I think to Jackson's point, yeah, he makes $15 million this year, whatever, but he's got 2 void years. He's going to hit the market, and somebody's going to want a wide receiver, and the market is like the base market is a lot more than what he was making now. So I think for a guy like him, so yeah, interesting move, Joe. What other recent news we got?
Well, I mean, the non-news is we've been hoping and waiting, praying for some movement in the Jags backfield. Like, the scuttlebutt was more or less that either Bigsby or ETN were getting traded, and as of the cut down deadline today, that had not happened. So that's something I'm keeping eyes on. I guess we'll see how it falls, how things play out with like these running backs who were all cut today. But let's get to the actual news. All right, so one of the interesting ones to me was that Cam Akers was cut today. And I know the listeners probably thinking, big deal, Cam Akers. But what that really means is it's Miller time, baby. Grab your beer. Kendre Miller has won over this new coaching staff, a coaching staff that doesn't hate his guts like Dennis Allen and the previous regime. And it's looking kind of like he's seized this number 2 role pretty handily. And so I think it's good news for him and for Devin Neal. But like, I just want to point out Kendre Miller, who we liked as a prospect. He was 20 years old or something, 21 years old as a prospect. Right now, Kendre Miller is younger than RJ Harvey. He's younger than Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, aka the Field. He's younger than Cam Scattaboo. Right. So yeah, he's been injury plagued, but in his junior campaign, he rushed for 1,400 yards and scored. I'm going off the dome here. I want to say something like 12 touchdowns. Like, he was a great prospect, and we liked him a lot 3 years ago. And all of a sudden, he's kind of firmly entrenched as this RB2. So if he can stay healthy, Kamara's not going to last forever. Like, this is kind of interesting, and he's still younger than a lot of the folks that people are paying 5th, 6th, 7th round picks for right now. So
I can't tell you how much I love this.
I got a lot of Kendre bags too, by the way.
So I think it's good for both Kendre and Neal, right? This is like we want to get these guys because one of them is probably going to hit after this year, if not mid to late this year, show some signs.
Yeah.
And both of them are, I think Neil's 21 as well, right? And so I think both of these guys are pretty young.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of juice to squeeze from those guys. And yeah, it does look like Kendre is getting the shot, despite me maybe wanting to see Devin Neal get that shot. But I think, Kendre Miller's got a little bit of leg up, has dealt with some injuries. So like you say, if he can kick that, might be kind of nice to buy that 21-year-old running back. Like, what are you paying for him right now? What do you think? Like maybe a 3rd-round pick?
I think you can get him cheap, man. I think people are kind of fed up, and
Yes,
people
they
that have
are.
been the Kendre Miller bag holders probably would be happy to take a 4th for him. Even like, I don't
Really?
think he'd be that expensive. What do you think, Jax?
Yeah, I think you can work him into a deal. Again, I hate just paying a 3rd
Yeah.
because you don't really need to pay a 3rd in total value, I don't think. And paying a 4th, you're probably not going to get him. So just in straight pick value, it's probably a little silly. But and I don't really want to give up picks for him. I'd rather do some stuff where it's just sending some things that are definitely more valuable than Kendre Miller, that are still roster cloggers, like wide receivers or something like that.
Yeah.
Anything like
Keenan
that.
Allen,
Sure,
a
something
Kendre Miller plus or something.
Yeah. Just something where I'm just getting. I'll get the 3rd for the what. So
Yeah.
I think there's just ways to get Kendre Miller with some of your like extra stuff that you've got on your roster, and that's
I
the way
think
I'm
that's
going.
right.
And you got me excited. I wasn't excited. I was the Devin Neal getting drafted there. The former coaching staff hating him for 2 years. Even Cam Akers signing there, I was like, God, this is going to be just crowded. It sounds like Cam Akers is because they don't like Kendre and they're probably going to cut him. They end up cutting Cam Akers.
Yeah.
I still, even after all that, I was like, I'm still down. And you changed my opinion on that. And I like that. He was a good prospect. I just looked a little bit too. Like he had 30% missed tackles forced per rush for his career, which we were looking at those numbers. Anytime you were over 25, even, that was really good.
That's
30
good,
plus
yeah.
was really good, so that's good. He also had over a 10% 15-yard rush rate for his career. That's amongst the best in this class. That the RJ Harveys, Jarquez Hunters, and Ashton Genties, these types of players. So yeah, I think maybe there's something there. He's a 5'10", 5'11", 220-pound back with speed.
Perfect size.
Come on, man. I've heard worse ideas, so I think you're absolutely right. And it sounds like he's now the RB2 on that team. If that's the case, you're right. Wheels all the way up. I'm with you 1,000%. Go get Kendre Miller at his current value for sure.
And
Yeah,
Kellen Moore went out of his way to praise him. They asked about Kendre Miller, and he's like, listen, I don't know what they thought about him. We think he's great, right? And I just want to, like, I'm thinking back to now I'm going to, early training camp. It might have even been like OTAs, right? It was just like the running backs doing a drill and Kendre Miller looking better than every running back on that roster in that drill. Granted, no pads, it's just a drill, but it's just like, whoa. He kind of jumped off the page where it's like even Devin Neal, who we think is pretty athletic and an awesome player, like looked slow in comparison to what Kendre Miller was doing. So anyways, Trav, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Well, I was just going to cap it all off by saying he got the most carries of any Saints running back in the preseason, over 3 yards after contact per attempt, boys, and 5 missed tackles forced on only 15 attempts. So that was all seeding for him to be the running back too. 2 other running backs that were in that mix, like you said, Akers, and I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire got cut as well.
Oh yeah, I wrote him off a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, absolutely. But just another body out of there, right?
To the point, though, right?
Yeah. Also, just learned that Velus Jones now a running back for the Saints. Interesting.
Yeah,
he got this. Second most snaps of any running back for the Saints was Velus Jones. Trying to figure out if he can be
he's already like a 28-year-old running back, so I'll write that one off too.
Yeah, fun fact of the day.
Next order of business. Speaking of veterans, we don't care that much about getting cut and what it means for younger players. MVS was cut by the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh baby.
We were talking just a week ago about how Horton has already beaten this guy out, and that was not announced anywhere. We're just like, it's over. Like, Horton has won this X job.
Yeah.
Not only is it over, they straight up cut MVS. So Tory
Paddle
Horton,
hands.
it is wheels all the way up for Tory Horton. Like, this is not something that statistics are going to tell you in preseason stats. This is just like, we actually have solved this position, and it was our 5th round rookie. So the drumbeat couldn't be louder for Horton. I don't know what the X position means in this iteration of the Seattle offense that wants to focus a lot on the run and has JSN and Cooper Kupp, but dude's going to be on the field, and
Yes.
that should get your attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also good for El Tercero because it moves him on up the depth chart for sure.
He just got it to move for me.
Yeah.
Did he make the 53?
Yeah.
Ricky White did? Nice.
Yeah, he didn't get cut. Yeah.
Okay,
good.
good. I saw their Instagram post of the final 53 earlier today, and he wasn't on it, boys. He wasn't on it.
You think special teams ace Ricardo
he was
Blanco
probably in the
El
special teams section. He
Tercero,
was in the special teams
who has
section.
blocked 2 punts in a
El
single
Tercero. I
game,
did not
is
mean
getting
those
cut?
nasty things. I did not mean those nasty things, El Tercero.
Yeah.
La Premier.
El
Tercero, La Premier.
They're going with the Jake Bobo, Ricky White,
That's
and
right,
Derek Young, who I still have a very, very small candle lit. Derek Young,
you would, you sicko.
Dude, he's 6'5", 230. He's Dante Thornton before Dante Thornton. I mean, I'm like, come on, get him on the field. The guy's a house. The other one that we did not mention. I was going to say earlier in this program that we could just victory lap and pat ourselves on the back for so much stuff that we've been getting right since the start of this podcast. And I mean that sincerely, man. Really great. One guy that we did not mention was George Holani on this program, I don't believe.
No,
and
we did not.
With the cut of Damian Martinez, I saw a lot of people sort of sliding Holani on their team. I did it in a couple spots, sort of monkey see, monkey do type of ad that I made. I was like, well, if someone thinks he's good, maybe I do too. And we sort of missed the Holani boat on this program. I didn't necessarily miss him everywhere in Dynasty, but he becomes interesting. A lot of people are saying, oh, Zach Charbonnet, man, he's awesome because if Ken Walker gets hurt, then blah, blah, blah. Right? Well, if Ken Walker gets hurt, they're going to still run with a 2-man backfield. And George Holani seems to comfortably be the 3rd back on this team. And I think they were so comfortable with him in that role, being right there, that they did cut Damian Martinez, who, seemed to have at least a little bit more gravitas, but did not make the team. So I thought that was a little bit telling about George Holani.
I mean, so I have, yes. How do I put this? Because I have love for Damian Martinez. I really liked his film in college. It was a lot of fun. And I think, I know I said here on this show, he seems like a weird fit for this scheme that Seattle's running. I don't think that he's this outside zone kind of runner. I think he's just a Hulk smash kind of runner, right? So it's just didn't feel like the right fit for him. So my candle is still very brightly lit for Damian Martinez, and I'm hoping and praying he goes to the Cowboys or he goes to the Bears, and he just
Commanders.
Commanders. Or the Commanders? Is that what he said?
That's my take, is that they are not done in the running back room. I think they're going to pull somebody off the scrap heap. I don't think it's going to be Martinez because they probably want more of a veteran presence.
Yeah.
But I think he's sick too, Joe, is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They have Martinez and Rodriguez on one team. That's going to be sick. You have not had a backfield like that in years.
No shit.
But anyways, with Holani, I don't have much to say about him. Talk about the undrafted, right? Boise State, he was behind Janty even when he was like an upperclassman, if you will. But, 4.52 speed, pretty interesting. He's almost 25 already, so I don't know what we're going to get, but I was more going to spin it towards Martinez and my continued faith in him. I don't have a ton to say about Holani. I don't have any conviction in him, but
I don't either. I just know that some people do. I know Rhinos, was kind of like, he you know how he does whenever he has a guy, he puts the Rhino,
GIF.
The GIF.
And like Holani's like, he sends the Rhino out. I'm like, oh, so this guy's kind of a beast, I guess.
Listen,
I don't know his game, but I kind of know based off the GIF,
When Rhino talks about running backs, I listen.
Yeah.
I I think with Holani, just to kind of wrap him up, and then you move back into Martinez, Joe. I think what Jax you're saying is that like this might end up, and we've been talking about it. This might end up being just a backfield that we want little pieces of here and there, right? Even the third guy on it, we want pieces of, because if he gets some run, it could be productive. And so I think that's what the play is for Holani. If
Yeah.
you have that extra bench spot on a deep roster,
I
worth
made the
a shot.
point today with Ian that I think the Charbonnet becomes sort of Monty light, a little bit of a
Mm.
guy who kind of gets his, you can kind of start him in the flex. He's kind of a back end RB2 type, maybe with touchdown upside weekly. It could be Charbonnet. And I think that that's the kind of rushing attack that Seattle's going to have with Clint Kubiak is more runs than not, and so having a little extra rushing opportunity there, that if one of those two guys were to get hurt, there's even like some 1B type action for Holani potentially is kind of the point. He's kind of, even though he's third, he's kind of a mini handcuff,
Yeah, I don't dislike that take at all. I don't want to bury the lead though here, because I think the most impactful thing, which is also probably the most under the radar thing, is that Deontay Johnson was cut by the Browns. And this was a little bit telegraphed. There were kind of rumblings that like he wasn't doing great there, or they didn't like him and all of that. But everyone, when he got signed, just sort of slotted him in to the slot role on the Cleveland Browns. And the fact that they got rid of Deontay, I mean, and they picked up Isaiah Bond late after his legal stuff got cleared up. So maybe he's a candidate for this slot work. Judy's the flanker, Tillman's the X. But I think, Jax, your dreams are coming true here. I think Harold Fannin, I posted something on Twitter which basically said that they are talking about him like their slot receiver. I think they're going to run a lot of two tight end. A team that wants to run the ball is going to run a lot of two tight end. And I think Harold Fannin is going to occupy that area of the field. So I think like the loudest and clearest message I want to send to our listeners from this cut down day, because I don't think many people realize it, is go get Harold Fannin right now. If he costs a third, just go offer a third for him right freaking now. If you're tight end needy, this is screaming buy signals for one Mr. Harold Fannin.
And
Jackson.
this is sorry, Jax. Just I got a quick one here. This is exactly what Stefanski wants to do. If you remember early in the Bears' tenure, when he had the players, I think he had Njoku and Hooper for a minute there. He was running a lot of two tight end and just running the rock, and that's what he's wanted to do. He just hasn't had those players necessarily. I think they've tried. They drafted one of the Bryants within the last few years, I believe, either Harrison or Hunter, trying to get that second guy who could maybe make a bit of an impact. Well, they got him now, and I think it's sweet because Njoku can play slot as well, so they can really, really make the defense guess with these guys, and they have such differing skill sets too that it's going to be fun to watch on the field. Like, get Harold Fannin out there, get him the rock, and let him steam, Jax.
Here's the thing. We talked about this tight end class a number of times, and one of the things I brought up was the anatomy. One of the recent adds to the anatomy was PFF run blocking grade. And I said, who do you think's the highest rated PFF run blocking grade of this group after one of them? It was like, maybe, I don't even know if it was Tyler Warren. I'm not even sure if it was him, but he was like second. And it was Harold Fannin. And we sort of said, well, he's blocking, Division III guys, maybe a lot of perimeter and da-da-da. And I was like, I agree. I'm not saying that he's an inline blocker, but they felt like he is a very good blocker of whomever he is blocking. He's going to be playing the move tight end, which means he's going to be lined up against more smaller guys. He's not going to be blocking, big defensive ends and linebackers. He's going to be blocking safeties and that type of thing. So I really think he could actually be a real useful weapon if he can stay on the field. Here's the thing. I think we're going to see it. I think the thing that happens with Fannin, if he hits, is he hits as a pass catching weapon at all levels. Screens, right? He's great after the catch. Remember, that was his thing. Make people miss, just stiff arming and all these sort of duck footed moves he makes that look silly, but he gets it done. I am so excited for Harold Fannin. I think it's all there. I've had a number of people in Dynasty sending me trades trying to get my Fannons, and I'm I'll counter with a different dude. Like, oh, you want that value? You can have the value of that trade, but not with that motherfucker. You ain't getting it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Here's the quote from the Coach Speak Index. And I'm not sure who said this, so give me a second, I'll figure it out. But Harold Fannin Jr. is really kind of the queen on the chessboard. Boy, do we love that term. We've been using it before it became part of the fantasy curriculum. He's a really good ball in hand player, can separate as a pass catcher, and he's a really good movement style blocker. He fits perfectly in terms of what Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees want to do philosophically on the offense. Next quote. He's a mismatch piece for us. Defenses are going to have to account for him and Njoku when we're in 12 personnel, and whether he's split out or in a traditional tight end alignment or in the backfield. That's all. That's get the ball in this dude's hands. We view him as a weapon types of quotes. It gets me all kinds of hot.
That quote sounds like it could have been written by me. Is all I'm saying.
Can I just say?
That could be Snopes. You go in there. No, Jax Falcone actually wrote this motherfucker. Like, I'm telling you, bro. That is wow.
Can I just say, there's probably no funnier moments for me on the show than when Jax just leans back and has a gasm on the show when we're talking about something. It is fucking hilarious, and I love it.
Wow.
And also, you have something in common with Harold Fan and Jax. Also good with ball in hand. Also good with ball in hand. Yep.
Good one.
And lastly, 7 of his 12 snaps in the preseason, or receiving snaps, in line. So they're trying it out. And that is, we love that. We want him to be playing both.
Get him on the
if
field
we
as
know
much
that
as
he
possible.
can play both. Oh my goodness. Tents pitched. Tents are going to be pitched everywhere.
Wow.
Not only that, I mean, the important thing to remember is Njoku is in the final year of his contract, if I'm not mistaken. So, maybe it's a good rookie year, but it could be a great second year for Fannin.
Even so, bring them back. Fuck it. They're going to be great together.
I agree.
So good.
All right. Moving on. Just second orders of magnitude here. I just want to touch on Phil Maffa went on IR in Dallas. Deuce Vaughn got cut. That's pretty bullish for one Mr. Jaden Blue. I think
we expected it, though. I think we expected them to carry those 3 guys in, like Miles Sanders, Javonte, maybe carrying a 4th, but yeah.
I just think Chad from Texas continues to run pure on this one.
Chad's winning for sure. Chad is absolutely winning.
Right.
That is unbelievable.
Blake Watson, Audric Estime get cut. That really reduces the muddle in the Denver backfield. I think this is the J.K. Dobbins, RJ Harvey show. That's great, and I think they're both going to be viable starters for you. I'm literally in a league where week 1, I'm starting both of them.
I would say on that backfield, Jaleel McLaughlin, a guy that I've liked in the past, I would probably hold him on a deep bench too, because this also might be one of those backfields that we want to target. And then if he leaves, of course, I think
there's no possible way J.K. Dobbins could get hurt, right? I mean,
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, never gonna happen. I also love the Dobb Goblin though, so I'm not saying anything in that neighborhood.
Just is what it is.
Be interesting to see if Estime lands anywhere and where he lands.
Probably will.
I've not blown the candle out on Estime, but it's maybe just not a great scheme fit for what
zero shares, 0 cares for me. In a similar situation to the Dobbins RJ Harvey, Mr. Najee Harris got said that he's going to play in week 1.
Seems like you've been keeping your eye on this one.
No, listen, I think it's more like a revenge tour. You know what I mean? An eye for an eye.
Oh, man.
He's going to really have to pass the eye test for me in week 1 before I buy in.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I think after week 1, it's going to be like fireworks.
For sure. Boys, I thought back in our day, there was a lot of astigmatism around using fireworks, but apparently there isn't anymore because these guys are doing it all the time. Like JPP was not a cautionary tale.
Right.
Come on.
He blew off some digits. This guy did something different, right?
Yeah. I'm actually kind of glad that he's coming back though, because we can start to make sense now of that backfield. Because I think it would probably be a little bit cornea if he was on the sideline with a patch on, you know? So we don't have to have Najee with a patch on the sideline. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been a rough patch for him for sure. But actually, no, on all seriousness, I think he was really fired up to do this because the coaches had been browbeating him.
Yeah.
It's just that I wish this didn't happen to him.
Oh my God.
Oh, stop it. I mean, he'd have to go back to his college days. I heard he was a terrible pupil.
I think you might be retina, Jax. I think you might be retina.
All right. So,
I mean, all
man.
jokes aside, like
All jokes
I don't
aside.
like making jokes about this because Najee Harris is a local guy.
Yeah.
Like, he grew up in Antioch, which is like 20 minutes from where I live. But now they just call
Antioch kept that fool. Antioch.
yeah, but now they just call it Antoch because it's
Oh.
missing an I.
So I think the Najee Harris situation is interesting because we have seen over the last few weeks Omari and Hampton get some serious steam in drafts.
Yep.
Going mainly speaking probably to redraft, but we're kind of 'tis the
And
season
best
type
ball,
deal.
big time
Best
shift
ball.
in best ball.
He's
People were
nearing
firing on
like
him in
top
the third.
15 prices, top 12 prices type area. And that's a little bit steep for me with Najee being there. I think they spent a lot of money, going to try and get their money's worth out of Najee Harris, going to give him lots of carries, going to have $1 million here and $1 million there with all of those millions that they gave him. And so I think Jim Harbaugh is going to try and get their money worth there. So we've been saying it though. We've been saying that Najee is going to be a thorn in Omarian's rookie side, and it's still going to happen despite the botched fireworks job or whatever happened.
Yeah, all jokes aside, I actually don't think it was his fault. I think somebody else blew up a firework near him. So, we're
Hey
being
guys, look at
assholes.
this.
It's only funny because it seems like he's going to be okay and play in week
Yes,
one.
absolutely.
Correct. That's actually true. Like
Yeah.
if he was actually jacked up and was like, the career's over, these jokes are no longer funny, but he's going to be good. He's going to be blasting through the hole. Sorry. Did you see, by the way, one last one. Hey, did you see there's a team name in the Underground, I think it is, and the guy changes his team name to Najee See Me, Najee Don't.
That's pretty
Najee
good.
See Me, Najee Don't.
That's pretty
Wait,
good.
That's funny because I actually have Najee in that league.
Maybe it's a different one. Maybe it's the undrafted league. I saw it happen. I'm just like, mwah. So I've been echoing that one. Good for him.
I'm pretty bitter because in the Underground, we drafted in April. I drafted Joe Mixon and Najee Harris. And I was like, well,
Lovely.
that was terrible.
A good run out. Speaking of Joe Mixon, what do you guys think of the situation? I mean, I just can't help but think it's Nick Chubb until the wheels don't work, but they probably won't work. So now what?
I think we were already nearing like counting Mixon as dead.
We
previously.
were, for
like
sure.
We were very, very like right there because we knew this. Like he's older. This is gonna linger. I am not even considering taking him in any of the drafts I have remaining. Couple home leagues, and we're going to talk about some of that later, which is kind of fun. But yeah, I think it's got to be Nick Chubb until the wheels fall off. Like if you have him, you ride him in your flex spot, which is probably where he slots in on your roster at this point. Ride him there until he gets hurt, most likely, and then see what kind of scraps they're putting together. Woody Marks looks like he's primed for some pass catching. Don't know what that's going to look like on the Texans team that hadn't really passed the ball to running backs that much previously, but I think he is looking good in the preseason. And so, Joe, your namesake, Woody, I was not really on him very much. And I think that might've been a miss because I wouldn't mind having a couple more shares for sure.
I did a film analysis on Woody during the pre-draft process, and I came away thinking like this guy's like a top 15 running back, and then I easily named like 17 running backs I liked more than him in this draft. So I'm not super bullish on Woody. I will say, like, I'm in the position where I'm starting Nick Chubb in a couple of leagues, like week 1, week 2, while things play out. He's just the most reliable option. You don't want to mess around too much and get too cute in the early weeks, but and there's no bigger Nick Chubb apologist and truther than me, but I will absolutely pull the ripcord if it's looking terrible. So I'm just hoping it's not, but I don't have like tons of faith at this stage in the game. The one that's interesting is actually Damien. Why am I blanking? No,
Dameon Pierce, man, he's
Damien
still
Pierce.
there.
Yeah, Dameon Pierce actually is a much better fit for this scheme than he has been under the previous regime. I feel like we've talked about this on the show before, but it seems like he's going to be the one pushing for sort of like the carries behind one Mr. Chubb, and Woody is primarily going to be the pass catcher. So we'll see. Mixon, God knows what's going on there. So, I mean, we might have just fallen into a bunch of bad volume with Chubb and Pierce and Woody. I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of the teams that picks up some of these scraps, maybe a Damian Martinez or something like that. So,
Or Khalil Herbert or something.
yeah, off the streets. So yeah, I'm glad you brought up Herbert, because that was actually the next thing I wanted to get to, which is that he got cut by the Colts, and that's, in my opinion, just super bullish for Giddens. I think we had already said he'd sort of already claimed the RB2 role. We called that battle 3 weeks ago, I feel like.
When he was drafted.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, really.
I've been saying that. I've been saying he's one of the more valuable handcuffs in the league since he got drafted, for sure.
Yeah, just a couple more for me, and then we can talk about whichever ones you guys want. But these are just some guys that I freaking, soapbox for. But Evan Hull and Izzy Abanikanda both have been cut by multiple teams now. Yeah, it's absolutely Jober. If you haven't cut them already, I was still hanging on to a couple of shares of each. They're gone now. It's not happening. It's not happening for these guys.
No, it's over for sure. What else you got, Trav?
A couple here that I wouldn't mind necessarily talking about. Just a little one to pump up Joe's tires a little bit. Bobby Trees in Pittsburgh gone. Yep. Roman Wilson is looking like the depth chart wide receiver 2 on that team right now. And I know Calvin Austin might spell in there, but my 2025 rankings have Roman Wilson as the wide receiver 2 on that team. So the waiting game sometimes is the hardest part, as one Tom Petty once said. But Joe, you played it, and you played it pretty well. So for the price that you paid for him, of course, we're not saying this guy's going to be a world beater. The Pittsburgh wide receiver 2 is probably not going to be that productive, but he's weaseling his way into snaps. And so good on you, brother. The Roman Empire is, a little bit more fortified.
It's not dead yet. I just watched Gladiator 2 for the first time over the weekend. It's basically the fall of the Roman Empire. The metaphor came to my mind.
I heard it was kind of bad.
I actually enjoyed it. Okay. I mean, there were some parts where it's just like, that's pretty cringy, but you're gonna get me. You're gonna get me with the timepiece and Denzel Washington almost every time.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, this one hurt me a lot today, boys. I like I said, I've been dropping the True North ranks and stuff like that. I'm not trying to plug the show too much, but it's just kind of fresh because fantasy is just busy right now and it's so much fun. I had a rankings graphic primed to have Hunter Renfrow right on it. No helmet, hair, receding hairline, nasty little beard. Not much hair, of course, but and then like moments later, he gets cut. I was locked in, boys. I was almost like I said it previously that there was a world where Hunter Renfrow was the second wide receiver on this team. They brought him in. His routes were looking crispy by all accounts. We know that he is a clean route runner. And I mentioned that he did have some slot flanker experience, not just slot experience, which is something they didn't use Adam Theilen for. And then we hear these rumors of Adam Theilen maybe getting traded, and I'm feeling better about that. And then my dreams are crushed. And I think it's probably a positive for Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette too. Like, it is a little positive for him. As much as we don't like him, we don't think he's going to succeed. And we're actually going to lead into somebody who I think has a similar profile in a second that you got on there, Joe. But yeah, I think, all signs are pointing up for them. I don't think that Adam Theilen gets traded to Minnesota, as we've been hearing, but what are you thinking, Jax, on that situation? And the rest of the depth chart it could.
Yeah, it might still happen. But, I mean, I still think this says everything you need to hear about Jalen Coker. And if it's Coker and Tet and whatever else they've got if they trade Thielen, but that's even more better for Jalen Coker
Mo better.
if Thielen goes. But even without Thielen gone, I guess that's the 3. And Thielen, it's no chance he could get hurt either. That's not happening. Like, there's no possible way that guy is getting hurt. So, but you know what I mean? So it's just like these things are going to evolve as we go. And I think Jalen Coker could have a pretty big year. He's a player for 100 targets potentially. Like, where else are they going to go? Like, if you start putting the targets someplace on that team, you got to start with thinking, okay, somewhere along the line, somebody's got to get some. And it could be Jalen Coker over 100 targets. It could be, I think, literally in wide receiver 2-3 land by the end of the season, potentially. That's sort
without
of the ceiling.
Thielen, definitely. Without Thielen, like almost for sure. Like Thielen was a hog last year, and Bryce Young really liked him too. Yeah, but yeah, it could happen. Jalen Coker looked awesome last year as well. So, I'm a little bit buying into that Carolina offense, to be honest with you, boys. I think it's all pretty cheap so far. Maybe not Tet so much, but it's all pretty cheap. And Jax, it's interesting. We were talking about that Chuba trade that Joe so disgustingly offered you a couple weeks ago, and it's right that you didn't take that that you didn't take that trade, but at the same time, I think you might have undersold Chuba a little bit as a bell cow who just got a new contract. And I am slowly losing steam on Jonathan Brooks, despite the fact that he's a super young guy still. So I think Chuba should be getting a little bit more credit than you gave him, but I still wouldn't have taken that Tyler Warren trade.
Okay, Mrs. Hubbard.
He is a fellow Canadian, you know what I mean? He has overachieved big time.
Does that mean Madam Hubbard?
Madam Hubbard.
Yeah. There's no Canadianism. We say the same shit as you for that. I mentioned a similar career arc to Xavier Legette. I guess Xavier Legette probably has this guy already beat, but Malachi Corley. And Joe, your note on the show sheet was RIP to the next Debo. And one of my tweets to
thank you,
him getting cut was, what if I told you I already knew Xavier Legette's career arc? That actually might have been a Laviska Shenault tweet, but Laviska Shenault is the Xavier Legette of Malachi Corley, who is of the deep, they are all each other. And so, yeah.
Sir,
yes.
Hold on.
Yeah. And what I mean,
get in there, Joe.
I'm fighting this profile comparison.
That's actually the kiss of death from now on. If it's prospect season and you hear this is the next Debo, just move on.
I know
completely agree.
I know it's a loose comp for Legette. I'm just being a dick.
Xavier Legette was never called the next Debo.
Fine.
But that is
how he's best used, probably.
That is a kiss of death, though. When anyone is called the next Debo, it's usually bad. The only one that has survived that kiss of death is Jaden Reed, who they called the next Debo. And he's not quite the next Debo, but he's kind of in the phylum a little bit.
Yeah.
But literally everybody else has just been like, and they're cut.
Yeah.
And they're on their third team and they got cut again.
And of course we know the reasons why, but we won't get into it now. We'll wait till next off season to start talking about all that nonsense. But
just a quick mention, because we are absolutely not spending time on this, but we did have a little bit of love for this guy. The Debo of tight ends, Jaheim Bell, got cut from the Patriots. The next Debo of tight ends. But this one's more important, guys, for us to talk about. There's two more, and Zach Moss got cut from the Bengals. And Joe, you said officially Tahj Brooks' backup season. And while I think that path is a lot more clear, I think, speaking of pesky guys, Samaje Perine is there, and he is probably going to get some role within this team, especially on third downs. And so there is going to need to be an injury, obviously, for Tahj Brooks to get some steam, but I think no matter what, Samaje would be in there. So I don't know if Tahj Brooks' bell cow backup season is necessarily in order, but absolutely first and second down backup season is there. So that fourth round bag is looking very, very nice.
Yeah, agreed. I think we all knew that Moss was getting cut, so I don't think we need to spend a ton of time here. Brooks's value kind of already was at that direct backup. Jaheim Bell, I do just want to say, tight ends under 6'3", what's the opposite of undefeated? They've never won. There is no tight end under 6'3" that has ever succeeded. Huh?
Delaney Walker. Delaney Walker is the only one.
He was 6'3". Yeah. The only one.
He lied. He lied on the cards.
Yeah, no. The only one that still has a chance is Chikonkwo, who's like 6'2.5"
Debatable.
and big and super athletic. And I think he's about to get his job taken by one Mr. Gunnar Helm. But
Possibly.
I'm just saying it just doesn't happen. Like, this is why the anatomy is such a useful tool, because we know what these dudes look like. And when we see that they're under 6'3", I was like worried about Brock Bowers early on. And then he checked the boxes. But like when I saw that picture of him next to Gronk last offseason, I was like, oh shit, do we need to rethink this Brock Bowers thing?
When he was cosplaying as a computer programmer.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and then
wait,
he
what?
showed up to the combine, he measured okay. I'm like, all right, no, it's wheels up. It's wheels up. It's fine.
What are you, an intern at Google? What the fuck is going on? Why do you look like that? Anyway, I just drafted Chase Brown in the club championship at my pick 2. So ironically, I go Bowers and Chase Brown from the 102 in the 16-team league.
Oh, Canada
club championship. But let's give the people what they want, though.
Jax, I'm actually going to relinquish the floor to you because it is redraft season. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit. We got some fun home league stuff that Joe wants to talk about. I got some home leagues coming up as well. But you started the club championship.
Well, I invited you to the club championship.
Well, I am now a part of the club championship, which I have to be completely honest. I was a little bit annoyed that I hadn't been invited previously, especially seeing that Kuvatakis was in there, meaning that last off season there was a spot and Kuvatakis was asked before me. But that's okay. That's okay. I would rather it be no other person, and I'm glad that I'm in the club.
You remember you were on vacation.
Was I? Okay, maybe you are correct. I was absolutely. I was hiating.
You were on vacation, if you remember correctly. So I allowed you your vacation. You got paid, didn't you?
Thank you for the gentle descriptor, sir. And please,
you didn't miss a paycheck now, did you, from us?
I didn't miss. That's one thing I'll say about Undroppables. I was off for about 6 months with some stuff dealing with my noggin, and I did not miss one paycheck.
I want to be clear, Trav. I was forced to join this league last year unwillingly. It was like I was going to be teammates with Fuchs. Shout out Derek Fuchs. I was going to be teammates with him, and then all of a sudden I had my own team, and I was like, "What? I'm in too many leagues. Why am I doing this?" And now, I'm excited about it now. This year, I was like, let's go.
It's a 16-team league redraft. Like, what are we doing? It's like you're just waiting forever. I literally went. Chase Brown's my round 2 pick. It's like, let's rock and roll, at the 215 or whatever. So, and the rules are crazy. Of course, you don't have to start a quarterback, but quarterbacks score a lot. So you kind of want a quarterback, but there's only, it's great.
There's a super flex spot, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, and like 6 flex or something.
Yeah.
This is sweet, man. And you are a rascal with that 3rd round reversal on the draft as well in a 16 team. Oh my goodness. I picked at the 109. So I'm right in the center of that. So it doesn't really necessarily matter. I really wish I was a little bit closer to that end. At first I was like, yes, I'm 9th. And I was like, oh fuck, this is 16 teams.
Yeah.
So the 3rd round reversal is not really that much for me, being kind of right sandwiched in the middle there. But those people who are early in that draft, man, I feel for them because it's going to be a long wait after this second round.
It's also kind of a super tight end premium to some degree.
Yeah,
There's
175,
bonus there. So yeah, it's interesting. And so for that reason, at the 102, I went Brock Bowers, hoping to get a positional advantage at the tight end position. When you think of 16 teams, there's going to be a couple of teams with some really sparse tight end options, especially if potentially because it's tight end premium. Maybe I'll draft another one and steal yet another one from somebody, and their guy gets hurt or whatever. There can be some real attrition at the tight end position because you have to start one every week. So now that I've got the sort of Brock Bowers locked up, obviously he's going to get hurt now that this is on the public airwaves, but you can just sort of lock it in, know you have a positional advantage, and also know that you don't have to scrape for one later.
This segues really well into a home league draft that I had this past Saturday, which I kind of want to talk to you guys about. And I kind of just want to talk to the listeners about because there are like some key lessons in this stuff. It is redraft season. We're a dynasty focused podcast, but right now, this time of year, the next 2 weeks, really, the next 2 weekends is when most of your redrafts are happening. And, anybody who listens to this show is just an absolute sicko, right? We started the day after the season ended, right? Anybody who listens to the show is an absolute sicko. So maybe this stuff goes without saying, but I just want to remind you of a couple things. One is that home league drafts are fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah.
These people are not thinking about fantasy football the same way we are, certainly not from a game theory standpoint. I'm going to give you just this example.
They're picking their favorite players.
They're picking their favorite players, or they're just going by default rankings on the website that they're on. So in this particular home league, it's it's an ESPN league. So, I'm going to talk about exploiting ESPN rankings in a moment.
Oh yeah.
But it's a 14-team Superflex league. This one's kind of crazy. It's 14-team Superflex redraft league. That's already pretty unique. Half point per carry, point per reception, 1.5 PPR for tight ends, kicker, defense. But then the other, just a little wrinkle is we have one IDP player, right? And so on Saturday, this draft takes place in LA. Sometimes I go down, sometimes I don't, but I couldn't go down obviously with a newborn. So I was just doing it online. Everybody else, most of the rest of the league is all together, but they're all drafting from their laptops all together. It's a big party. It's like really fun. Shout out Couch Potatoes. But this year, being the good manager that I am, I was like 1 hour before the draft, I was like, let me just take a look at the rules because we always change a little something here, a little something there. And I realized we added a tight end slot. So now there are 2 starting tight ends in this 14-team league.
Wow.
So I want to pose this question to you guys, and I promise you all I'm going to have some takeaways for this, but I want to pose this question to you guys. What does a 14-team, 2 tight end with an IDP tell you about how the first round should go?
Bowers should be the 101.
Yeah. Yes.
And then the 102 should probably be McBride.
Right.
Okay.
He probably. Yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase and
IDP can really do it for me in that equation. Yeah.
The IDP, I'm going to wait on IDP because there's 32 middle. First of all, it depends on the IDP scoring, okay? Because I play in a number of IDP.
Typical IDP player scores around 10 to 12 points. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all, right?
Doesn't matter at all.
Except
Travis
if there's a wide receiver.
Hold on. I looked at this, right? Remember, I looked at this for SFB when we went on
I'm not interested.
the Podathon. And
I'm not playing him because I'm going to get more points.
Yeah, because cornerbacks for fantasy do not score like safeties do, right? And so if you play him, he's getting like 4 IDP points per game. And if he's doing that and coming off the field on offense more often, then that's kind of comes out in the wash to me.
No. But here's the big difference between this and the Scott Fish Bowl. In the Scott Fish Bowl, you're playing a wide receiver who plays some defense. In this league, you're playing a wide receiver who you get to plug into an IDP slot.
I see.
Right? So there's actually a huge difference.
Way more ceiling, especially. Yeah, and higher floor with any receiver.
Now I understand. So Travis
Hunter.
Yeah.
All
right,
sure.
So
like
get this
up for sure.
So get this. I'm picking from the 12 slot. Brock Bowers falls to me.
No.
Yes, he falls to me. So I just immediately click Brock Bowers, right? Just immediate. And then I get a video on WhatsApp from the league chat, and it's one of my best friends in the world who's in this league, and he is clowning me in front of the rest of the league for taking a tight end in round 1. And I'm just sitting there laughing. I'm like, oh my God. They don't realize what a second tight end in the starting lineup. There are 28 starting tight ends in any given week.
Right.
Like people are going to be starting Harrison Bryant sometimes.
Yes.
Right? So I was like, so that was like, he did me a huge favor because not only did he give me this tell where I wasn't present at the draft, but he gave me this tell that the rest of the league was not valuing
now
tight
making
ends.
fun of you.
But he also poisoned the well
because
they made fun of me taking a tight end. He poisoned the well, And now everyone who
Amazing.
was thinking about taking a tight end is like, well, I'm not going to be the dipshit that takes a tight end. They just clown this guy. So
Tell me you banged it again. Tell me you
so
banged it again in the
I'm sitting
segment.
there. I'm sitting there processing this information. The 4 picks between me, my Bowers pick and the next pick,
Yeah.
because I was gonna take McBride. I
McBride,
thought I
but
was
now you
gonna
don't
be
need
getting.
to.
I thought I was gonna be getting Kittle, right?
Yeah.
But then I was like, so I'm sitting there. I'm just like, oh man, I wanted to take McBride right here, but if they're not taking tight ends, like I'm just gonna
good
fire on
point.
Travis Hunter right
Yeah.
fucking now. I'm
Very
gonna fire
nice.
on Travis Hunter right now, and I'm gonna continue to be the laughing stock. They're gonna laugh at that one too. They're gonna laugh it up. So, anyways, he did me a huge favor by giving me that tell of like the entire room laughing. So then I'm like, for sure, Kittle will fall to me in the 3rd round if they're all making fun of this. Maybe if I'm lucky, McBride falls to me. Pick 36, because remember, it's 14 teams.
Yeah.
Pick 36, 3rd round comes back to me. McBride is there. So I just hammered the 3 biggest positional advantages that you can have outside of running quarterbacks, the top 4 quarterbacks that are running quarterbacks in that league because of the points per carry. That's the biggest edge you can have. Or if you happen to hit on the best running back, like a Saquon Barkley, right? But I hit on the biggest 3 positional advantages you can have outside of those QBs in rounds 1 through 3, who are all probably future Hall of Famers. So I was just sitting there like, thank you so much for sending me that video, laughing my ass off. My point is this. In your redraft leagues with your homies, if they're happening live, dude, read the room. Read the room. I got this little window into the room that I wasn't even in. And like, oh my God, that changed everything. And it just gave me the leeway. But I need to backtrack for a moment, because going into this draft, we're drafting. We're drafting on ESPN though, right? So I know that their rankings are all screwed up, and that's going to have a heavy influence on how people draft. So I'm like, I can get Emeka Egbuka and Tedero McMillan way late, so I can just punt on wide receiver forever and still get studs at wide receiver, and then I could just fill those QB slots with like the leftovers, and I can hopefully get a hero RB somewhere in there. I did not. I thought I was going to be going RB or RB QB at the 3-4 turn, but then like obviously McBride falls to me, so I take him, and then I back that up with Justin Fields, who's a rushing quarterback. So in this format, anyways. So there are a few takeaways. 1, know your scoring. 2, know your platform, because ESPN gave me the leeway to go a little bit nuts early because I knew I was going to be able to make up for it later. Read the room is number 3. Home league drafts are crazy is number 4. and then this is the most important. The biggest takeaway is exploit the rules and the roster positions. Everyone is drafting off of like default rankings for your standard leagues. If your league varies from that in any way, you need to exploit that rule. That's how you increase your probabilities of making the playoffs. So I don't know what your rules are, but I know that you need to know the rules in order to best exploit them.
My home league is this weekend, and the rules are not near as great as that one, Joe, because this is the 13-year-long. We have drafted in person, just except for like a couple of us here and there, every single year. It used to be at my house every year. We put the board up on the garage or whatever we can. Now it's at our buddy Jordan's house. So much fun. One of my favorite days of the year. Shout out to the Esquampton Fantasy Football League. And this one is your 10-team standard. Start 2 running backs, start 2 wide receivers. They will never go to your half PPR ever. And you want to see some wacky shit to be a fly on the wall at this draft.
Is there flex or no flex?
I think there's maybe 2 flex. They upped it to, but I'm still trying to harp on them for some PPR because I need that in my life. But
yeah, it's like a 10-team start 7 or something. You're like, what in the hell is going on? Yeah, because it's quarterback 2, 5,
kicker, defense,
it's like 8, 10 by 8 or something, right?
Yeah,
and
we all go on the back deck.
Defense is 10, right? Exactly. Yeah.
We put our names on a golf ball. We go on the back deck and we just pick a target, and whoever's closest gets to pick their draft slot.
That's
it's
awesome.
One of those. So much fun, man. So much fun. There's a basketball hoop. We're shooting hoops. We're waiting for our picks. There's a bunch of food. We're all getting so fucking high, which brings a new wrinkle to reading the room, by the way, Joe. when dudes are just like out to lunch or one of us is just like spouting off or something like that, reading the room then when you're also on that same level is a bit of a different story. But I love these boys. I think I've only won it once in the 13 years because it's always just such a shit show of a
Well, it's such a
redraft league.
luck. It's a luck fest anyway.
Totally. And it's so
Start
much
eight,
fun.
10,
And
10 teams start 8. You're talking about the top 80 players, bro. Like
totally. And
all
my
your
worst
knowledge is useless. Who gives a shit about your knowledge? Your knowledge is nothing. It means nothing.
nothing. Yeah. And I've contributed to the wackiness. My worst pick ever in this league in his rookie season because I needed the running back in that standard league. I took Royce Freeman in his rookie season in the third round, boys.
Listen, we've all done that. But like in a league like that, like you need to hammer running backs and like really
Hey,
get a
settle down,
superstar quarterback.
settle down, because that draft is this weekend, and I don't need these boys watching this or anything
I'm
like
sorry.
that.
Do not draft a running back. Whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
The top 4
don't be
quarterbacks
drafting
don't
running back.
matter at all, is what I
At
meant
all.
to
I
say.
would argue you don't
No.
even want to think about any of the premium positions. You just want to hammer wide receiver for about 7 or 8 rounds straight.
Kickers too.
Then
Kickers
think
too.
right. Then fill in that kicker and defense. Then think about the other 3 positions. You don't need
Yeah.
it. You know,
That's how it goes in those leagues.
every league is different, and I think that's huge. Looking at the scoring, like I kind of do the Scott Fish thing with the club championship. I'll just tweak it a little tiny bit from year to year, so there's like a little bit different scoring or something. Try to make it as fun as possible, and of course we do victory points or whatever it's called. A game against the league median. Otherwise, your record, you could be the best team and have the worst record somehow because of the variance of 16 teams. But long story short is, I don't normally advocate for taking Brock Bowers at the 102, but because of the scoring settings, you all of a sudden change it. Look, I only have to start one running back, one wide receiver, and one tight end. That's the only requirements I've got. Well, everybody's going to be starting wide receivers and running backs, but I can tell you in a 16-team league, there are times you do not want to start a tight end. That I can tell you for a fact. There are teams that will be like, I can't believe I have to start one of these tight ends. Like, which one of these losers am I going to have to start? There's going to be teams. So you want to basically put pressure on those teams by, getting one of the premier ones, as me and Trav did. I mean, me and Joe did. What was your thought process there, Trav, in our leagues? I'm sure you're itching to share.
Well, dude, yeah, I think like I wasn't necessarily, my socks weren't blown off by my last pick. I started with Bijan at the 108, which was fine. He was the first running back off the board. There is an extra half point for reception for running backs. And so I think Bijan is probably the clear top guy there, especially with Saquon not catching passes. I was fading Saquon in this league. My second pick was Patrick Mahomes. You guys are talking about those tight ends. I was cheesed because we talk about rhinos. Rhinos 3 picks before me, George Kittle. You guys got McBride and Bowers. And then, Joe, with your 106, it went all the way around to the 206 until George Kittle was taken. And I wasn't really that hopeful until we got to the early second. And so kind of got my hopes up that he might fall to me, but he did not. So I would have been stoked about Bijan Kittle. I'm okay with Bijan Patrick Mahomes as well because that super flex spot that I have is kind of locked up. I don't have to necessarily worry about it. And if teams are struggling to put a quarterback in that spot, I might have an advantage in any given week on that spot. So I'm cool with it. I think I can fill the other wide receiver and the tight end position, but I know the priority of tight end here. And so I'm going to be hunting a little bit. And it's so anxiety provoking when you're in a draft, and it's like these kind of settings make it so pivotal and stuff like that. This is the best kind of fantasy shit that you can have, is like, I need to get this. And if I don't, I'm going to have to fucking freak out about it and then move on and figure out how to recover. And that's the best part of the game.
I'll give the listeners the scoring. 6-point passing touchdown, -3 for pick, minus another 3 for a pick 6. So -6 total if you throw a pick 6. Half a point per completion, -half a point per incompletion. So guys who have better completion percentage, a little bit better, rushing, standard stuff, 6 touchdown, half point for a rushing first down, receiving, half point for a receiving first down, and then it's half PPR, but half PPR additional for the running back, a point total for wide receivers, and then 1.75 additional for the tight ends, which makes them, a first down catch is like 2.5 points or 2.75 points or whatever. So pretty cool, without the yards, 2.75. So very, very cool stuff. Makes it a lot of fun. I think last year we had 40-yard 40-yard bonus points and stuff. Like, you just kind of have some fun with it. Don't be such a stickler unless it's a real stringent league, but have fun with it.
And
Yeah,
another note. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
I was just gonna say, I think what it comes down to in the club championship, in the league I described, in the league Trav described, right? In redraft in general, it's supply and demand based on the format that you're in, right? Where are you going to be? Where you set up tiers and you figure out where the well runs dry in those tiers. For tight end, it runs dry really quickly. So
Right.
if tight ends are a premium, they're pushed up even more. Right. If it's like a super flex, there's 20 good quarterbacks, right? You want to get 2 of them. So it's all supply and demand in the league. Trav's describing, it's like running backs are still at a premium because it's kind of a traditional league, and so that's where you go running back.
And it's non PPR, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
of course, I want running backs. What am
Yeah.
I'm gonna play any 2 wide receivers that get the most yards and have the best chance at touchdowns. I don't care about PPR. Jakobi Myers is useless in that league or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
See you later, Josh Downs and Jaden Reed. Hate
They
you
may-
in this league.
yeah, it's just I'm going to draft 3 or 4 wide receivers total, and then all running backs, and make sure I have a dope tight end, dope quarterback, and that's the game.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems obvious to us, but I think like a lot of times people really just can't see the forest through the trees. You have to start at the top. What is the scoring? What is the roster construction? And
Right.
what does that mean about where player value should be? That's where you work. That's the point you work back from, right? Big picture down to your team and your draft slot.
Yeah,
Yep.
and of course I hate it when there's like a 1-minute clock, a fast draft, because then you have these big plans and then something goes wrong, and you're like trying to figure out quickly how to pivot, and I hate pivoting in 1 minute. It's not
I
fun
actually
for me.
I actually love those. I love those because I
fun.
have every time I have like 2 or 3 players lined up, and so I hit the button so fast.
That's
I
fun
hit it.
too.
I hit immediately
Yes.
just to put pressure on the person drafting after me. Right.
Yes.
In other words, I just push the button right away, so they don't get the minute that I'm sitting there deciding to think things over. I just push
That's
it
right.
right away. It's so
Yes.
fun. I
That
love.
is-
I
that's a
I
strategy
like
too.
the clocks like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah. Another thing that I like too, because my buddies know that I podcast and stuff about it. Sometimes when I'll take a guy like ahead of where their generic cheat sheet said that guy should go or something like that, you see them start to think about what was that, and I'm super confident in this pick, kind of like you, Joe, when they were questioning your tight end
This
pick
is the
there of
best.
Bowers. Like,
Well,
it's
I
just
think
so
Bowers
good
at the
to
114.
see the wheels spinning. 2 more hilarious things from a home league. Both came from this league as well. Just kind of a funny piece to cap it off before we ride out here. 2 funny moments that we've had, all timers. One time, Jordan, one of the guys, posting it this year, hilarious in the group chat. When Michael Thomas was a rookie, we were excited. A rookie or second year, I think second year, maybe, we were excited about him. But if you guys recall, there was also a Los Angeles Rams Michael Thomas, and we had one of those draft boards that actually had the name and the team on it. He didn't actually see the team, but he put up Rams Michael Thomas in something like the 7th or 8th round, and that was so good. Another guy, Brad, shout out. The year after he retired, went up to the draft board so confident, Tony Gonzalez, the year after he retired, and we fucking lost it. So every year we still rip him and say, "You gonna take Tony Gonzalez? You gonna take
Easy
Tony
for you to say.
Gonzalez here, Brad?"
Yes.
So yeah, home leagues bring fun stuff. So we encourage you, if you don't have any, try to get one pulled together, because getting together for a live draft, there's a lot of people in the fantasy space, I've realized, Jax, that just have never experienced a live draft in person with people. And
true.
it is so much different and so much fun. So give it a shot. Brings a new wrinkle to the fantasy space if you've just been kind of an internet fantasy gamer.
Yeah.
It's a poker game. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, totally.
You
We
feed
did a
them a lot of
podcast, boys.
alcohol too. Yeah, you feed them a lot of
Yeah.
alcohol.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of extracurriculars. You have a good time, lots of good food there. I usually bring pulled pork, something like that. So yeah, live it up. It's kind of like it's just, kind of like getting together for the NFL draft, except it's your own draft.
Did you see my comment in the draft while you were picking? I said he's busy. He's busy making tacos, with hamburger helper tacos, and He's just once the hamburger helper taco is done, he's gonna load it up with salsa or ketchup, whatever. Yeah,
Sour cream, you mean? Sour cream is what I put on it.
Salsa.
I'm actually not a salsa
That's just
user, so get it
spicy
right.
salsa. That's actually Heinz 57. Oh, whatever. It's good. A little spicy. A little spicy.
It is the goat, so I would put it on there.
Spicy.
I would put it on there.
Everything
Okay,
a little
well,
bit more
if
mild.
these guys are done ridiculing my dietary choices, I'd like to ride out our podcast here.
All right, buddy.
Absolutely love you, boys. It's one of my favorite nights of the week, every single week to get together. And I say this every episode, but I'm pretty sure that people are catching on and feeling that vibe too. So thanks to everybody who's been watching and commenting and letting us know how they feel about the show. We're just getting started. This is episode 31. So the surface has only been scratched because we're going to be here for the long haul, or I know I am at least. So unless you guys get sick of me, but I hope that doesn't happen for a while.
Next week's going to be a great show too. I can feel it.
Absolutely.
Actually, next week I got my home league draft. So.
Oh, no, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
We'll be back after week one.
Week one.
Really
we're going to have a lot of cool shit to talk about.
Right.
So until then, keep an eye on us on the socials. I'm having a hard time talking, so I got to get the fuck out of here, boys. For Jax Falcone, I am Trav. That is Joquavius Kuvatakis, and we'll see you next week. Peace.